Welcome. Oh my God, I'm so excited to have you here today. We have literally 1,500 people are here today. So we are going to be talking about how to beat SIBO for good in 3 easy steps. Hey, and over in the comments, y'all have already been telling me who you are and where you're from, but continue because I want to say hi. Hi, Rita. Hi, Sandra. Hey, Casey. Hey, Joanne. Hey, Michael. How's it going? I'm super, super excited to have you here. So if you are not familiar with me, then you may not know, but conventional medicine failed me, and it is my mission to not have it fail you too. My second year of medical school, I started having panic attacks, weight loss, insomnia, and even a hand tremor that led me to a doctor. And when I got to the doctor, you know what they told me? It was all in my head. They completely dismissed me and told me it was just stress. Well, turns out it was not stress at all. I was ultimately diagnosed with an autoimmune condition called Graves. And you know what I learned down the line? That a single gut infection called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth was actually one of the root causes to my autoimmune condition. All that conventional medicine had to offer me was harsh medications, radioactive iodine, or surgery. Nobody was looking at the root cause or trying to find a solution to my problem. So since that time, I've opened a functional medicine clinic, and I've worked with thousands of patients from all over the world who've been failed by conventional medicine. And I have seen day in and day out patients just like you suffering with gas, constipation, bloating, diarrhea, skin issues, fatigue, vitamin deficiencies, all kinds of conditions. They went from doctor to doctor. They were given test after test, pills after pills, and finally told nothing was wrong. Or maybe a few of you actually got a diagnosis of IBS. We'll talk about that very shortly. So conventional medicine doesn't have a solution for you. Many people, just like me, were told it was just in their head. So what I found after working with thousands of people from around the world is that it is not in your head. That in fact, many of these symptoms that seem completely unrelated to one another are actually caused by one very treatable condition. And you know what? I've seen time after time after we treated that condition in the 3 easy steps that I'm going to tell you about today that are all natural, that they ended up completely renewed. They had a sense of energy again. They got their life back. So I'm super excited that you're joining me today for this empowering and important information. So in just a second, we're going to get started. You're going to see the screen go blank just again, and then we'll get the presentation started about how to beat SIBO for good in 3 easy steps. Before then, let me say, hey, Joan, hey, Jamie, hey, Michael, asking about SIBO. Now, and remember, I'm going to be answering your questions live at the end. So hang tight with all your questions, everybody. So happy to see you here. Okay, the screen's going to go blank for a second, and then we'll get started. Today, I'm letting you in on a very big secret that conventional medicine is keeping from you. And that is, it is not all in your head. And that you can beat SIBO for good in just 30 days. So I have helped thousands of people to end this gut infection for good. No more belly bloating, cramping pain, or racing to the bathroom. Gone is the constipation, the diarrhea, and even the IBS diagnosis. I have helped literally thousands get back to clear skin, flat tummies, energy, and vitality. I'm going to show you exactly how to beat SIBO today in 3 easy steps. It's proven, it's effective, and most importantly, it is all natural. Now, you might be wondering, am I in the right place? Now, what I'd like to know, tell me in the comments, what are you struggling with? Is it diarrhea? Is it constipation, gas or bloating, abdominal pain or cramping, digestive issues? Maybe you've actually been diagnosed with IBS or IBD, inflammatory bowel disease. Do you have food intolerances, even histamine intolerance, chronic fatigue, vitamin deficiencies, leaky gut, or even autoimmunity like Hashimoto's? Tell me what you're suffering with, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you can do about it here. Vanessa saying all of the above. Nicole, Hashimoto's. All right. So you might be wondering, are you in the right place? Well, if you are feeling embarrassed by your symptoms, that your life seems to be revolving around a bathroom, that you have cramps or bloating that you just can't get rid of. Maybe you look 6 months pregnant. That was me, guys. I'll tell you how I had SIBO as well. Are your symptoms holding you back from your life? If so, you are absolutely in the right place. Now, you might be wondering, like I wondered myself when I went to that doctor and got told it was all in my head. You might be wondering, what is wrong with me? Is this all in my head? Are the doctors right? Is this just normal? Is there anybody out there who can help me? Will I ever feel like myself again? Guys, I've heard this time and time again, and I am letting you know you are in the right place. I've been there myself, and I've heard it every day from my patients. You're in the right place, and you're going to get help today. You can get your life back. So over the next 45 minutes or so, I'm going to show you exactly how you can beat SIBO for good in 3 easy steps. And it's all natural. This presentation is packed with life-changing information. And at the end, I want to share with you where you can get some additional information and some additional help if you'd like to learn more. So over in the comments, if you could be so kind as to tell me if it is okay that I share with you where you can get some more information about how you can beat SIBO for good at the very end. So let me know in the comment section. I know there's usually a delay. We already have some people saying yes, this is awesome. So as I said, this is life-changing information. We have Deborah saying yes, Sherry saying yes, April saying yes, Daniel, there's so many yeses coming in, I can't even read them so quickly. Tammy, Leah, Sandra, Cindy, Laura, Beth, Pete, Patricia, Catherine, of course, I can't even read them quickly enough. So this is life-changing information. So I ask you to please, over the next 45 minutes or so, turn off your cell phone, close out your email if you're on your computer right now, shut down Facebook, let your family know not to disturb you for the next hour. And most importantly, I ask that you come with an open mind, because this may be new information to you, or this may be contrary to anything that your doctor has been telling you. So please come with an open mind. Now, if you stick around for the full presentation, not only am I going to be answering your questions live, but I am going to show you how all these seemingly unrelated symptoms that you're experiencing are actually the result of one treatable gut infection. So you're going to learn how to treat it naturally in 3 easy steps. And to thank you for sticking around for the entire time, we will email you a bonus gift tomorrow morning. And that is the foolproof SIBO foods checklist. So in this checklist, you will finally have clarity on which foods to avoid and which ones are going to help you keep feeling great. So no more guessing, you can finally eat with confidence. So just stick around for the full presentation to when I'm doing the Q&A and I can answer your questions, and you will get this bonus gift emailed to you free tomorrow. All right, now why am I doing this training? Well, first off, we are experiencing an IBS epidemic, irritable bowel syndrome epidemic. There are 25 to 40 million people in the United States alone that have been diagnosed with IBS. And of course, those are the people who've actually been diagnosed. That's 10 to 15% of the population worldwide has been diagnosed with IBS. That is a lot of people, folks. And as I'm already seeing in the comments, many of you are women. In fact, 2 out of every 3 IBS sufferers is actually female. And I'm going to show you this connection soon about SIBO, IBS, and the autoimmune connection. And many of you all know that women are far more likely than men to suffer from autoimmunity. Now, in fact, I see so many people that are just frustrated and at their wits' end, going from doctor to doctor and test after test. And finally, they're so excited. They got a diagnosis, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. And then what happens? They're given pills for the symptoms. If they're lucky, something improves. For most of you, nothing improves. Maybe even worse, you have side effects from those medications. And that is because 50% of the people, that's half of you who've been diagnosed with IBS, don't actually have it. You have SIBO, or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And I'm going to show you how does this happen? So as physicians, we have this thing called a diagnosis of exclusion, and IBS is one of those. Now, diagnosis of exclusion is just kind of a fancy term for, look, folks, we don't know what in the world is going on, and we got to tell you something because we know you're frustrated and you came to us for an answer. So I'm sort of joking, but not really. So what this really means is that you have a constellation of symptoms. Your tests are all normal, and literally we don't know the cause. So we created this diagnosis, IBS. Now, why am I doing this training? So one of the biggest reasons is I know how frustrating it is to be dealing with symptoms that seem to come out of nowhere. I know what it's like to be told by your doctor that nothing's wrong with you. After my Graves' diagnosis, I went in search of the root cause. And later, I discovered that I actually had SIBO. And I'm going to tell you about that SIBO, leaky gut, and autoimmune connection in just a bit. But remember, conventional medicine failed me, and it is my mission to not have it fail you too. It's why I get up every single day. So after working with complex patients from all over the world for the last 10 years, I'd say one of the most common things that I see, particularly with people who have autoimmunity and other complex issues, is that they have SIBO. It's an underlying issue in so many people that I see. Now remember, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, and SIBO was one of my root causes. And in my clinic, there are just a few silver bullets that I have that when I treat it, the impact is enormous. Their life completely changes. They get their health back. And treating SIBO is one of those. So the good news is SIBO is very treatable. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it in 3 proven and simple ways that, again, are all natural. So why are so many other doctors getting this wrong? Well, first off, particularly in conventional medicine, they're not even listening to you. Really in medicine, we as physicians are trained to listen to specific symptoms and then give you a pill for it. And if you have too many symptoms and they don't seem related, we don't know what to do. So many of the symptoms of SIBO are so vague. It's bloating, constipation. You might have rashes, fatigue, gas, food intolerances. You're pulling your hair out. We run tests over and over again and they come back normal. So what do? We diagnose you with IBS, or worse yet, tell you it's stress or it's just in your head. And worse yet, most conventional doctors aren't even testing for SIBO. It's a relatively new diagnosis. And in medicine, it takes an average of 18 years after the research has been done for it to actually get into your doctor's office and for them to start doing something about it. And it's only just now starting to catch on. I mean, maybe you've been watching TV and you've seen those commercials for those antibiotics called Xifaxan to treat IBS. So you know what? Somebody's found a way to make some big bucks. So, before I knew about this protocol that I'm going to tell you about today in an all natural way, I used to prescribe those same antibiotics. And my patients would come back to me day after day and tell me they couldn't afford them. One round just to treat SIBO is between $600 and $1,000. And of course, as a conventional doctor, we're just not simply trained to find the root cause. So after I went to medical school and after I did my training as an ER doctor, I became an ER physician. And then I wanted to learn more. So I found functional medicine, which if you don't know what it is, we seek to find the root cause of your symptoms so that you can actually overcome the illness rather than just giving you pills to treat symptoms. I've learned how to connect the dots and to treat people as individuals. And I found time and time again that SIBO is so often the root cause of a whole host of symptoms that other doctors just can't simply connect those dots. Now, quickly about me, after I graduated medical school, as I mentioned, I was an ER physician at the Children and Adult Trauma Centers here in Austin. And after I finished all my training through the Institute for Functional Medicine, I opened my very own clinic, where for the last decade, I have helped people from literally all over the world recover from chronic health conditions, just like you're dealing with today. I went on to write 2 New York Times bestsellers that have helped tens of thousands of people around the world take back their health and reverse their chronic illness. My books have been translated into 10 different languages. And my latest book, The Autoimmune Solution Cookbook, was an Amazon #1 bestseller and is packed with 150 delicious recipes and lifestyle tips. I also hosted the nationally televised PBS show, The 28-Day Metabolism Makeover, how to jumpstart your sluggish metabolism in just 28 days. In addition to all of that, I've been featured on the Dr. Oz show over 7 times and appeared in so many natural and national magazines. Now, recently, we got clear on our mission and our vision here at the company. And let me just tell you what those are. We empower people to take back their health by providing them with the tools to understand the root causes of their symptoms and to live the solution. It's why we're here today, folks. My vision is to inspire a healthier and more informed world where chronic illness is a thing of the past and our tools are used by millions around the world to achieve optimal health. So these are the mission and the vision that I get up every day to empower you to take back your health. So my true mission is to be here for you so that you are no longer dealing with symptoms that conventional medicine is just brushing off, like digestive issues, fatigue, skin issues, autoimmunity, and thyroid issues. Now, I'd like to share a story with you before I get into how you're going to beat SIBO in 3 easy steps. And I think that this story is really going to resonate with many of you. And that is the story of Monica. She gave me permission to share her story with you today. Now, this might look like a laundry list of symptoms, but let me tell you what her life looked like. Monica was a 42-year-old woman who came in to see me. She had a successful career as a real estate agent. Her job was stressful, but she was really, really fulfilled. She was happily married. She had 2 children, Eric and Madeline, and she was supposed to be at the prime of her life and happy. But gradually, over the last few years, she'd really lost her spark. She was exhausted. She'd started developing these digestive issues that were really taking a toll on her life and even her career. She had diarrhea and constipation, where she'd have these weeks of racing to the bathroom, and then suddenly out of the blue, she'd be severely constipated. She told me that she was feeling like she was really having to plan her appointments as a real estate agent around the nearest bathroom. It was affecting her entire life and her career. She had severe bloating and gas that would, she'd wake up with this flat tummy. I don't know about how many of you, I personally have experienced this one. She'd wake up with this flat tummy, and then by the end of the day, she literally looked 6 months pregnant. And she developed embarrassing gas. And, this was really a blow to her self-confidence and her outgoing personality. Now, she was a working mom with 2 kids, and, she was used to this go-go lifestyle, but she was normally still pretty full of energy at the end of the day. But now she was completely worn out. She didn't even feel like she had energy to play with her kids or enjoy them when she wasn't working. Now, the most bizarre one of all, and I too experienced this one, you'll hear my story a little later, is that she'd get this mysterious rash out of nowhere and these headaches, and she couldn't figure out how or when these things would come. And then at her latest annual checkup with her doctor, they ran a thyroid test and they found out that she was actually hypothyroidism, which could have explained some of the constipation and the fatigue, but not really any of these other symptoms. Now, I don't know about you, and tell me over in the comments if you've experienced this too, but unfortunately, Monica's story is not unique. These are stories that I hear day in and day out. And my guess is that many of you over there could probably raise your hand. Many of you over there have a very similar story. This laundry list of symptoms that seems like it's unrelated, but I'm going to tell you how maybe it's not. Now, go ahead and share over in the comments how many of you all have experienced something similar to this. Monica did what most people would do. She went to her primary care doctor, in fact, several times, who eventually sent her to a GI specialist. And Kathy's saying her story is just like Monica's. And Catherine's saying hers are the same too. Claudia, me too. Sherry, yep. Joan, yep. R, yes. Stephanie, yep. Beth, constipation. Kristen, yep. So lots of people. This is resonating for all of you out there, it sounds, or at least most of you. So like I said, Monica went to her doctor. Her doctor kind of didn't know what to do after a while. And so she eventually sent her to a GI specialist. And she had to wait months to get in. I'm sure that sounds familiar too. And then what'd they do for her? Test after test, and they kept coming back normal. So what happened? She got pills after pills and more pills for all these different symptoms. So how many of you have done that? Gone to your doctor, test after test after test, pills after pills after pills, and no answers, and the pills really aren't even working. You know, as a physician, it is so frustrating to me. I myself experienced it, and I hear this story every day. Conventional medicine is failing us, folks. They're just telling us to take pills. They are not looking at the root cause, and they certainly are not looking to solve your problems. So let me tell you what I did for Monica. I spent a lot of time listening to her. You know, I heard symptom after symptom, and I tried to put the pieces together. I experienced the same thing where the doctors weren't listening to me, and I vowed I would not do this for anybody else. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how I saw Monica got this long list of symptoms that seemed unrelated, but how they actually were. And most importantly, how I helped her get to the root cause and to reverse her symptoms, and most importantly, to get her life back. So my solution for Monica is based on tens of thousands of hours with real patients just like you. So what I heard in Monica's history: C-section, formula fed, a vegetarian diet. We'll get into that. I was a vegetarian for 27 years myself. Antacids for reflux, NSAIDs for her headache and stress. Let me show you what I do when a patient comes in. I kind of write down this diagram, and I pick the big things that are, ringing to me. The big things that are like, ding, 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 I'm thinking whatever I'm thinking. So when I listened to Monica's stories, my ears perked up because there were so many things that pointed me towards SIBO. Now I'm going to walk you through exactly how these lifestyle factors led to SIBO for Monica. And this is exactly what I saw in my mind. So I'm going to go over this here very shortly. But what I was able to see is that all of Monica's laundry list of seemingly unrelated symptoms that all the other doctors thought were unrelated actually were related. And they were stemming from one treatable gut infection: SIBO. So let's talk about what you're going to learn today. This is where you really need to pipe up, pay attention, because I'm going to give you all the goods right here. Okay, so what you're going to learn today is what is SIBO, 6 ways your bacteria get out of control, how SIBO wreaks havoc on your whole body, the SIBO leaky gut autoimmune connection, the #1 mistake in treating SIBO, and how to beat SIBO in 3 easy steps. So let's first start talking about the importance of the gut. I like to think of the gut microbiome as a rainforest. We have trillions of microbes living in our digestive tract. In fact, there are more cells in us and on us than there are of our own human cells. So this rainforest includes good bacteria, bad bacteria, maybe viruses, maybe yeast, maybe parasites, and they're all in a delicate balance. And this balance is key because your gut is where these bacteria help you to digest and absorb your food, minerals, and nutrients. It's also where nearly 80% of your immune system lives, and where 90% of your serotonin or feel-good hormone lives as well. So let's talk about your amazing small intestines and what a star role they play in gut health and digestion. Now, although it's called the small intestines, it's actually more than 20 feet long, and it has a surface area of an entire tennis court. And it's where 90% of your digestion and absorption occurs. So let me quickly walk you through the digestive process. So when you eat, your mouth produces saliva as you're chewing, which starts to break down the starches in your food. When the food reaches your stomach, it gets mixed with digestive enzymes and HCl that further break down your food and your proteins more particularly. Next, it heads to the small intestines, where stomach acid, bile, and enzymes help break down food even further. And then this huge surface area of your small intestines allows you to absorb those teeny tiny micronutrients of your food. Now, finally, your food travels to the large intestine and colon, where all that good bacteria is supposed to be, and it helps you synthesize vitamins, minerals, and, of course, eliminate waste. So most of our good bacteria, as I just mentioned, should be in our large intestine and colon, because that's where it synthesizes vitamins and, most importantly, where we eliminate our waste. Now, the small intestine, on the other hand, should only contain a small amount of good bacteria. Now, certain lifestyle factors, which I will talk to you about in just a minute, can cause that rainforest or microbiome to get out of balance. And the good bacteria can grow out of control in the small intestines. So that's why it's called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And you'll see in just a minute where this is a case of too much of a good thing can actually be a bad thing. And we're going to talk about how SIBO can become a whole body problem. So it's why you might be having a whole host of seemingly unrelated symptoms, from gas and bloating to food intolerance to chronic fatigue to vitamin deficiencies to rosacea and other inflammatory skin issues to even autoimmunity. All right, so let's talk about those lifestyle factors that I just alluded to that get your bacteria out of control. Now, over the last decade of working with patients, I found that there's 6 main ways that these bacteria can get out of control and lead to SIBO. So let's hop to it. Number 1, the main way that this gets out of control is our diet. So food for our bacteria, both the good and the bad, they like to eat carbohydrates. So as you can imagine, eating a diet high in carbs like bread, cakes, muffins, pizza, pasta, alcohol would of course feed these bacteria. But did you know that a diet in healthy carbs like brown rice, quinoa, and beans can actually do the same thing? It's because even these healthy carbs, they get broken down into sugars in your gut and they feed the bacteria. Now remember, I briefly mentioned I was a vegetarian for 27 years, and I do believe that this contributed to my very own SIBO. But great news, folks, we can change our microbiome and we can change what's happening in our gut in as little as 24 to 48 hours just by changing our diet. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that shortly. Now, remember how Monica had recently been diagnosed with hypothyroidism? Well, there are new studies that show that up to 50% of people, that's half of you with hypothyroidism, actually have SIBO as well. So let's look at that link. Now, the thyroid regulates every metabolic process in your body. There are receptors on every cell in your body, including digestion. So if you have an underactive thyroid, your digestion slows, then you get constipation, your food sits in your intestines, and it becomes a breeding ground for this bacteria. Hypothyroid patients also tend to have low HCl, and low stomach acid can be a contributor to SIBO as well. So, we're led to believe that acid reflux is actually too much stomach acid. But for many people, it is actually the result of having too little stomach acid. We need stomach acid to break down our food. If our food isn't broken down properly, then we have undigested food sitting around for too long. And guess what, folks? What does that do? It feeds the bacteria. We also need stomach acid to kill infections like viruses and parasites and bad bacteria and yeast. So if our stomach acid's too low, that doesn't happen. And then our rainforest, that delicate balance, it gets out of balance. Next up, number 4, medications. So for so many people today, taking things like ibuprofen and aspirin, we call those NSAIDs. That it's just a normal part of life. You have a headache, you've got muscle pain, joint pain, particularly if you have autoimmunity, it's one of the first drugs that gets prescribed by your doctor for joint pain and swelling, right? We see commercials for it all the time. You can buy it over the counter. Well, guess what? New research is showing that a single dose of just one of these medications, like Motrin, Advil, or aspirin, disrupts that delicate balance of bacteria in your gut, disturbing your rainforest. And as you'll see in a minute, these medications can also contribute to leaky gut. So number 5, this is probably the most overlooked one, but stress. Stress is huge. When we're stressed, your adrenal glands release hormones that slow down your digestion. When you're stressed, you should be in fight or flight mode. All of those hormones are going to your legs and all that blood so you can run away. It's shunting it away from your digestion. This means that your food ends up sitting in your intestines for way too long, again, becoming a breeding ground for bacteria. Stress has also been shown to disrupt the microbiome and that delicate balance all by itself as well. Your microbiome changes in response to stress from person to person, but everybody has stress and it's going to disrupt your microbiome to some degree or another. And lastly, studies have shown that chronic stress can actually suppress your immune system 40 to 70% below baseline after you've been dealing with a chronic stressful event, which then can lead to bad bacteria overgrowing and even things like candida or yeast overgrowth. And number 6, nerve or muscle damage. Now, this one might not apply to quite as many people, but I did see, I think it was Thomas or someone said that he had MS and could he possibly have SIBO? So I'm sure there are a number of you out there who've been diagnosed with a few of these autoimmune conditions that actually do have nerve or muscle damage. So muscular activity or motility in your gut sweeps the small intestines clear of most of the bacteria. So anything that interferes with this motility allows the bacteria to linger for longer. And again, it helps feed those bacteria. It also can cause the bacteria to spread backwards from the colon into the small intestines, which leads to SIBO. Diabetes and other neurological disorders can damage nerves that control the muscles and lead to SIBO. Scleroderma actually damages the muscles directly, leading to SIBO. And of course, if you're somebody who's had Crohn's or other sort of surgical procedures on your gut, that surgical scarring could lead to some of the bacteria getting trapped in your small intestines, leading to SIBO. So now, can you see that when Monica came in to see me, how many of these things that she was dealing with and many of her symptoms in her history were screaming red flags to me? From her C-section birth to being formula fed, it meant that she just didn't even start off life with a thriving microbiome. Her vegetarian diet, although it was full of healthy grains and legumes, or at least she thought, it was feeding the bacteria. All the way down to the antacids and the NSAIDs that she'd been told by her doctor were fine to take. They were disrupting her microbiome. And finally, she loved her job, but she was super stressed, and that was impacting her gut and her immune function. Now, every one of you out there, your story is going to look different. Mine looked a bit different than Monica's. And by looking at the 6 ways bacteria get out of control, we can begin to connect those dots. From something that seems kind of harmless, like eating a diet of brown rice and quinoa, to taking Motrin and antacids, how it can actually lead to you developing SIBO. Now I'm going to show you how this one gut infection, SIBO, was causing so many symptoms for her, so that you can put the pieces together in your own health history. So let's talk about how this can actually become a whole body problem. From anywhere from gas and bloating all the way down to things like inflammatory skin issues, vitamin deficiencies, and even autoimmunity. Let's talk about how SIBO can really get out of control and wreak havoc on your entire body. Now, as you can imagine, if your rainforest or microbiome is out of balance, you're bound to have digestive drama, right? So in my clinical experience, most everybody with SIBO does experience some digestive drama, whether it's something small like gas to bloating. In fact, we say it's pathognomonic. If you have bloating, particularly that at the end of the day, my tummy looked 6 months pregnant, I pretty much can assume that, you probably have SIBO. Now, it is possible to have SIBO, and we'll talk about that here shortly, and not have any digestive drama. You could simply have fatigue or skin issues like I'm going to talk about. So that's where it gets kind of tricky. Some people have normal bowel movements, others have constipation, others diarrhea, and many have even alternating constipation and diarrhea. So it can be super difficult to diagnose. In fact, remember the statistic, 50% of the people who've been diagnosed with IBS actually have been misdiagnosed and they really have SIBO. So I've literally had hundreds of people walk into my office with an IBS diagnosis and tons of medications that honestly weren't resolving their symptoms. And after treating them with the exact same 3-step protocol I'm telling you about today, they walked out of my office symptom-free and medication-free. Remember Monica and how she was dealing with that mysterious itching and even those headaches? Well, it turns out it was caused by histamine intolerance. So if many of you are wondering, do you have histamine intolerance? A few symptoms are itching, fatigue, rash, rosacea, anxiety, hypertension. Now, in my practice, I've found that SIBO is the leading culprit for histamine intolerance. And this, as I mentioned previously, is actually how I discovered my own SIBO. I was literally, like Monica, having these random headaches and a faint rash several times a week. I went in search of answers and I discovered it could be histamine intolerance. And as I continued to dig and dig, I found that the root cause of my histamine intolerance was actually SIBO. So I treated my SIBO in the exact same way that I'm going to show you how to do today. My SIBO resolved, and so did my histamine intolerance. Now, once I realized this connection, I started to use the same protocol with my patients. And time after time, again, their histamine intolerance was disappearing. And their lives were getting back. So how does this happen? Well, the dysmotility causes a buildup of food and histamine-producing bacteria to sit in your digestive tract even longer. In addition, the excess bacteria inhibits an enzyme called DAO, and this enzyme is responsible for breaking down histamine. So this leads to an increase in circulating histamines. Now, over time, this inflammation can actually lead to leaky gut, which then allows histamine-containing foods to pass into the bloodstream. The immune system goes on high attack of these invaders, leading to even worsening histamine intolerance with symptoms of flushing, hives, headaches. So that's exactly what was happening to me. Now, let's talk about the SIBO rosacea connection. It's another powerful connection I see over and over in my clinic. I've had so many patients come in. They've seen dermatologist after dermatologist for their rosacea with no improvement. Cream after cream, pill after pill, and nothing. And then after they see me and I treat their SIBO, again, with the exact same 3-step protocol I'll show you today, their rosacea completely vanished. Their skin, beautiful again. Now, this isn't just anecdotal evidence that I saw in my clinic. Recent clinical studies have actually shown that 46% of people with rosacea have tested positive for SIBO. That's nearly half of everybody. Are y'all hearing these statistics? If you've got hypothyroidism, if you've got been diagnosed with IBS or rosacea, there's about a 50% chance that you got SIBO, just based on the research alone. And that patients with rosacea were 9 times more likely to have SIBO than patients without rosacea. So how does this happen? The SIBO damages the gut lining, leading to leaky gut, and we're going to get to that connection here in just a second, and it releases pro-inflammatory cytokines. They regulate our immune response and promote an inflammatory reaction, and this results in skin inflammation. Now, another thing that I see with my patients is sometimes all they're complaining about, the only complaint that they have is fatigue. So let's look at that connection, the SIBO fatigue connection. Now, since your small intestines is where most of your nutrients are absorbed, you have an overgrowth of bacteria when you have SIBO. And the bacteria are competing for your nutrients. They use these nutrients to survive as well. So oftentimes the bacteria will actually eat the nutrients and extract them from your food before your body can actually absorb them. And this leads to nutrient deficiencies, particularly B12. So when I see somebody with a B12 deficiency, one of the first things I think about is SIBO. Now, we need B12 for our red blood cells to produce and for them to carry oxygen throughout our body, which is what keeps us energized. It gives us energy. It keeps us from feeling weak and fatigued. So if you have SIBO, then you might have a B12 deficiency leading to your fatigue. Now, I told you that we'd get into the SIBO, leaky gut, and autoimmune connection. So let's get straight to it. Now, if digestive issues weren't enough, food sensitivities, fatigue, if these things weren't bad enough, let's talk about how SIBO becomes a bigger problem and can lead to even more serious health problems. The overgrowth in bacteria in your small intestines actually produce toxic compounds, and these toxic compounds damage your villi and your microvilli that line your gut. And this damage to the gut causes the tight junctions in your gut to open up, And that leads to something called leaky gut. Now, if you aren't familiar with leaky gut, let me review it super quickly. Now, I like to think of your gut as a drawbridge. The teeny tiny boats, such as the micronutrients, macronutrients, and vitamins from the breakdown of your food, are meant to pass through. But the tight junctions that hold your gut lining together, they keep the big boats from getting in. Now, when you have a leaky gut, those big boats, which is things like toxins, undigested food particles, and microbes, they get through and they enter into your bloodstream where they do not belong. Now, when these undigested food particles and toxins and microbes, and those food particles are things like gluten or casein from dairy, when they enter your bloodstream, because your gut lining is only one cell layer thick, and between your gut and your bloodstream lies nearly 80% of your immune system, your immune cells recognize these particles that they don't belong in your bloodstream, so they tag them as invaders, and it signals a wave of inflammation and then attack. Now, a little inflammation that's temporary and it goes away is completely normal. I mean, it's a healthy immune response. You got problems if your body isn't doing this. We hope it's doing this day in and day out. But the problem is, if your gut remains leaky and more particles are escaping and more are being tagged and then attacked by your immune system, this inflammation that was once acute becomes chronic. And that's what leads you up to what I call the autoimmune spectrum. At one end are those with no inflammation and who are symptom-free. Towards the middle, you have kind of a moderate amount of inflammation, maybe even some symptoms like allergies, swelling, pain, things like that. But way at the right end of the spectrum, you have chronic high inflammation and even full-blown autoimmunity. Now, leaky gut is believed to be one of the root causes of autoimmunity as well, through a particular phenomenon called molecular mimicry. So remember all those microbes and toxins and particles like gluten, they enter your bloodstream and they can look very similar to our own body tissues. And so it's kind of a case of mistaken identity, where your immune system goes to attack the tissues. It ends up attacking the tissues instead of the microbes, the gluten, and the undigested particles, because they look exactly the same. And in fact, this is one of the ways that we believe autoimmunity happens. Your immune system's trying to attack the microbes, trying to attack the gluten, trying to attack these things, these toxins, but instead, because your body tissues, things like your thyroid, look exactly like these other particles, your immune system gets confused. So remember Monica? She was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, and her doctor told her that only her digestive symptoms maybe had something to do with it, but all her other symptoms were completely unrelated. Well, I've already explained that hypothyroidism can lead to SIBO. Remember the slowed digestion, the constipation, the food sits there, then the bacteria becomes a breeding ground. But SIBO can actually even cause hypothyroidism, or Hashimoto's, which is the autoimmune form of hypothyroidism. And in fact, most all hypothyroidism is autoimmune in nature. So how's that happen? Well, it's just like I said, leaky gut, then that process of molecular mimicry, your immune system goes to attack the food particles and it accidentally attacks your thyroid, and you end up with Hashimoto's. In addition, nearly 20% of your T4, or storage form of your thyroid hormone, is converted into T3, the active form in your gut. And if your gut flora is disrupted, that conversion can be reduced as well. And that can lead to hypothyroidism symptoms. So, you know, when I read these studies, about 50% of the people with hypothyroidism also have SIBO. I kind of wonder what came first, the chicken or the egg in this situation. Did the SIBO and leaky gut lead to the hypothyroidism, or did the hypothyroidism lead to SIBO? Or is it just a cyclical thing happening? Probably more the case. So now you can really see how one gut infection can really lead to so many different symptoms and set you on the path to chronic illness. Now, I promised, what would be the number one mistake that I see when others are trying to treat SIBO? And that is they are giving the wrong they're giving the wrong probiotics. So if you know me, you know that I recommend everybody take a probiotic. In fact, it's part of my essentials kit that I recommend to everybody. However, when you have SIBO, you need to make sure you're taking the right kind of probiotic. So most all probiotics on the market, even the ones I sell on my store, the 30 billion and 100 billion complete probiotics, contain two very powerful strains of bacteria, lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, because these are what are considered good bacteria, and they populate our colon and keep us healthy. However, remember that SIBO is actually an overgrowth of good bacteria. So this is where this is a case of too much of a good thing can actually be a bad thing. And this is why if you have SIBO and you've taken a probiotic in the past, you might have seen that it made your symptoms worse. So in just a minute, I'm going to show you the right kind of probiotic to take if you have SIBO, so that you won't be adding any more fuel to the fire. All right, now I know this is a part all of you have been waiting for. Here's where the goods are. So let's get going. How to beat SIBO in 3 easy steps. Step 1, starve the excess bacteria. Remember, bacteria feeds on sugars, alcohol, and carbs, even the good ones. So I want you to ditch sugars, alcohol, and simple carbs. I also want you to limit the amount of healthy carbs to 2 cups a day. Step 2, we're going to prune back the excess bacteria. To do this, I want you to take a specialty blend of herbs, fatty acids, and botanicals called Microbe Clear. Microbe Clear is all natural and will gently and effectively prune back the overgrowth of SIBO so that you can restore your microbiome back to its natural and balanced state. Step 3, restore the bacteria. Now remember, this is where most doctors make the biggest mistake when treating SIBO. They use those probiotics that have lactobacillus and bifidobacter in them. Instead, I want you to take a soil-based probiotic called Primal Earth. Primal Earth is a spore-forming, meaning they're protected from heat and stomach acid. And because of this, they don't populate the small intestine and feed the overgrowth there. Instead, they head straight to the large intestine and colon, where they can support vibrant health. And most importantly, they do not contain any lactobacillus or bifidobacterium strains, so they're not going to add fuel to your fire. So what did we learn today? What's SIBO, 6 ways it gets out of control, how it can wreak havoc on your whole body, the SIBO leaky gut autoimmune connection, the #1 mistake in treating SIBO, and how to beat it in 3 easy steps. So what I'd like to ask you is, what can life be like after you've beaten SIBO for good? Let's go over what it can be like. Let's go over what it was like for Monica. I'd like to talk to you about what Monica's life looked like after she followed these same 3 steps that I just told you about, and after she beat her SIBO. So remember, all those symptoms that the other doctors thought were completely unrelated were actually SIBO. And I used the same exact 3-step approach with Monica that I just told you about. And let's see what her life looked like. She was no longer planning her day around the nearest bathroom. And most importantly, she felt like she was in control of her life again. Her pants, they were back to fitting perfectly. She could wear all of her form-fitting dresses that she had moved to the back of her closet. I know all you ladies out there have experienced that. I have. And she returned to feeling confident in her own skin. She didn't have any more gas, so she wasn't having to constantly excuse herself from client meetings or worrying about embarrassing smells. And that mysterious itching and her headaches, they were gone. Her skin was clear and no more headaches. But the best of all, and now being a mom, I literally have goosebumps because I get it, and this was the most joyous part of her whole story, is that she had plenty of energy to play with her 2 children after work. She got off all the over-the-counter medicines after treating her SIBO, and she was even able to get off everything for the diarrhea, the constipation, the bloating, and we even reduced her thyroid medication. So tell me over in the comments, what will your life be like when you're living symptom-free? If you beat SIBO for good, tell me in the comments what your life will be like. I'm going to read some of them. In the meantime, will you be gaining confidence because you said goodbye to embarrassing symptoms? We have more time and energy to do the things you love. How about preventing more serious illnesses from developing? Would you, like Monica, just get back to enjoying more time with your family? Kristen saying she'd be more active in her family. Kelly would have more confidence and go places with her friends. These are coming in so quickly. Deborah wants her life back. Christine would be symptom-free. Sherry would be enjoying time with her grandson. Sylvie would have more energy. So Daniel wouldn't be on more medications. Nancy would have clarity of mind. Mary would enjoy eating. Angie would have decreased blood pressure. Tracy would be flipping amazing. Guys, I love these responses. This is amazing. So I literally have goosebumps. You know, my team, this is the first time I've done a webinar and don't have anybody in the room, but my team can attest. I really get the goosebumps I'm talking about. I really get the tears in my eyes when I'm talking to you guys. It's all real. This is my mission, is to help you guys. So my dream for you is that I want this to make this a reality for you so that you can have your health back in your own hands and you can get your life back. So at the beginning of today's session, I said I was going to give you everything that I could in 45 minutes. We've been on for 50 minutes. I'm running a little long because I love to talk. But I told you that I would give you everything that I could in our time together. And then I asked you if I could share some more information with you where you could get even more help if you wanted. So let me show you that now. So I have the same dream for you that I had for Monica, to get your health and your vitality back so that you can do all of the fabulous things that you guys just told me about. Now, after a decade of working with literally thousands of patients whose symptoms were all caused by this one very treatable gut issue, I have developed a proven protocol to beat SIBO for good. Conventional medicine failed me, and it is my mission to not have it fail you too. So that is why I created the SIBO Breakthrough Program. In just 30 days, you can beat SIBO for good so that there is no more embarrassing gas, digestive issues, or belly bloat. No more rashes, fatigue, or food intolerances. You can beat SIBO so that you are not leaving yourself exposed to more serious conditions like autoimmunity and thyroid. In just 30 days, you can beat SIBO for good so that you can have your life back. So in this SIBO Breakthrough Program, I'm going to show you exactly how to starve the overgrowth of bacteria, and I give you everything you need to prune back the overgrowth of all that good bacteria, as well as what you need to restore the balance in your microbiome so that you can have your health and your life back. Now, the reason that I know that this program works is because, as I've already said multiple times, I have worked with thousands of patients from around the world who followed this exact same protocol. I myself followed it. It's step-by-step guidance that takes all the guesswork out for you, so you know exactly what to do and when to do it. You get all the tools you need to beat SIBO for good so you can return to doing and eating all the things that you love. You get support from me and my team. Conventional medicine failed me, and it's my mission to not have it fail you too. I have already said it is literally what gets me up every single day. It's why I created this program. You know, I'm choosing to spend more time with my daughter, Elle. If you haven't seen me, follow me on Facebook and Instagram. You will see Elle all over the place. So I am no longer taking new patients. I'm focusing on trying to reach more people like I am today and focusing on my family. And I don't want you to be failed by conventional medicine. I want you to get back to enjoying your life with all these embarrassing and stubborn symptoms. So we have every mouth-watering meal mapped out for you with meal planning, recipe, shopping guides, so that you're not spending countless hours at the store or in the kitchen. We have everything you need in step-by-step guides for the entire program mapped out, so there's no guesswork. It's literally like having me right next to you in your home, coaching you on exactly what to do. We even have tips for special cases. We've already gotten questions I see about SIBO and Candida and how to treat those at the same time. It's covered. If you're dealing with FODMAPs issues, histamine intolerance, we got that covered. Are you dealing with how to do this while you're traveling or on the go? Got that covered too. So using these guides, you'll be getting your health and your life back, and it will be a breeze. Of course, as part of the SIBO Breakthrough Program, I'm providing you with the same high-level treatment as if you are a patient sitting with me in my clinic in Austin. You'll be getting the exact same supplements that I use for people in my clinic, and again, what I myself used and what I use for Monica. I call them my 1-2 punch. The first punch, as I've already mentioned, is Micro Clear. It's a specialty blend of all natural herbs and fatty acids and botanicals that gently and effectively target and prune back the overgrowth of this bacteria, of the SIBO, so that you can restore your microbiome back to its natural balance. My patients, my community members, I myself swear by this supplement. Monica will tell you she does too. I've never found anything more effective for this job. The second punch is my secret weapon, Primal Earth Probiotics. Remember, they're soil-based probiotics. They don't contain lactobacillus or bifidobacter, like almost every other probiotic on the market. So remember, they're not going to add fuel to your fire. You already have too much lactobacillus and bifidobacter. So these soil-based probiotics, they're spore forming. So they're going to stay in a seed and get delivered straight to your large intestines where they restore the balance of your microbiome and you can get back to vibrant health. Again, these are the exact supplements that have helped me to help others effectively eradicate SIBO in thousands of people around the world. So using my 1-2 punch has allowed them to kiss their SIBO symptoms goodbye. No more stressing out about finding the nearest bathroom, embarrassing gas, chronic fatigue, or belly bloat. I'm having a hard time saying belly bloat today. Belly bloat, belly bloat. So that you can be restored back to a better version of yourself. Plus, you're going to get my ultimate tool to help you safely and gently detox and move the overgrowth of bacteria out of your body. It's all natural activated coconut charcoal that's comprised of millions of tiny pores that bind the excess bacteria so that it's quickly and effectively flushed from your system. You know, my goal is to help you succeed, so I want to arm you with all of the tools that you need to do this effectively.
In addition, I've included my personal all-time favorite vanilla bean paleo protein powder. My vanilla bean paleo protein powder is made from grass-fed, pasture-raised beef that was never given GMOs, hormones, or antibiotics. It's also grain-free, dairy-free, legume-free, and sugar-free. You'll be enjoying delicious and creamy protein-packed smoothies each morning throughout the program, which will make your morning routine a breeze while keeping you full and energized.
In addition, you get weekly symptom quizzes and weekly progress trackers so that you can document your symptoms disappearing. This is going to help you stay on track, mark your milestones, and the best, celebrate your wins. Now, many of you know my registered dietitian and nutritionist, and together we created 30 days worth of mouth-watering recipes that will keep you full and satisfied. We really focused on keeping these to 5 ingredients or less, so you are not spending hours in the kitchen. And there is absolutely no need to make separate meals for your spouse or your kids. These recipes are filled with flavors, and the whole family is going to be asking for seconds. In fact, we even have Mocha, our dog, begging, and Elle eats this exact same way. I'm going to go over that in a minute. So as a bonus, I'm even going to be sending you delicious dessert recipes throughout so that you can enjoy a little decadence while on the program. So I want you to be SIBO free for life. So that's also why I'm going to give you the Gut Health for Life roadmap. It outlines exactly what to do to prevent SIBO from coming back, so that you can be symptom-free and enjoy your new renewed sense of self. Let me talk about why this program is different. It's the only medical doctor-designed online program of its type. You might see other programs out there that have been designed by health coaches, nutritionists, pharmacists, chiropractors, but as a physician, I've actually worked with thousands of patients in my very own clinic, and this is the exact same protocol and all of the supplements that I've used with them and that I used on myself and with Monica to help them successfully overcome SIBO. I stand behind everything that I do, all of my supplements, programs, 100%. I offer a 30-day return guarantee so that you can order with complete confidence. So on the SIBO Breakthrough Program, you're going to banish the digestive drama. No more planning your day around the bathroom, no more belly bloat, abdominal cramping, or gas. You can even overcome food sensitivities and histamine intolerance. No more headaches or rashes. You'll be able to indulge in the foods you love again. You're going to get back your energy and vitality so that you can go on vacation and actually enjoy it because you have the energy to see the sights or play with your children. No more red, itchy, thickened skin. Imagine wearing those tank tops or shorts again and feeling really great about the way you look. And most importantly, really, this is the biggest one to me, to be able to prevent and even reverse autoimmune conditions, especially the thyroid ones, to get back on path to a lifelong optimal health and wellness. Now, this SIBO Breakthrough Program is typically always available on my website, but I have a very, very, very special program that I want to tell you about. If you sign up this week, you'll also get 4 video Q&As with me for extra guidance and support as you go through the program. Now, these are exclusive videos from when we did this program as a live challenge, where everyone went through the program together and I answered all of the questions that came up in the group. I walk you through common questions and pitfalls to even better set you up for success. Many of these were scheduled for an hour, but I spent well over an hour and a half. I made sure that I answered every question so that people got the guidance that they needed. So tell me, how will it feel to take back your health? How would you like to feel no longer trapped by your digestive problems that have you racing to the bathroom? When you no longer have a bloated tummy and you feel confident in your clothes again? How about when you no longer have embarrassing gas, so you're not having discreetly have to walk away from a conversation or something at work? To be filled with energy and vitality so that you can get back to doing all those things that you guys loved, playing with your grandchildren, traveling, all the things that you guys just said. What would that be worth to you? What would that be worth to you? Would it be worth the $5,000 that it used to cost to have an appointment with me? $2,500 in a visit, $1,500 in testing, $1,000 in flights and hotels? And that's honestly what it used to cost to sit face to face with me. But because conventional medicine failed me and is my mission to not have it fail you too, and I'm no longer seeing patients, and remember my mission to empower people to take back their health by providing them with the tools to understand the root cause of their symptoms and to live the solution. And my vision, to inspire a healthier and more informed world where chronic illness is a thing of the past, and our tools are used by millions around the world to achieve optimal health. Because of that, I have great news for you. It's not going to cost you thousands of dollars to be in this challenge, to get your health back without even having to leave your living room. You get all of this without having to leave your living room, and you're not going to have to pay thousands of dollars for it. Let's kind of walk through everything. You're going to get all the online resources that I told you about that's always available with the program so that you can get your health and energy and vitality back. The guide, the ebooks, the meal plan. So that alone is worth about $300.
All the supplements you need to naturally and permanently solve SIBO without the risk of taking harsh antibiotics that can often only make things worse. These gentle and effective supplements will prune the SIBO, restore your gut microbiome, and safely and gently detox the overgrown bacteria so that you don't have any unwanted side effects. In addition, you'll get the vanilla bean paleo protein powder, which makes your morning meal a breeze and keeps you full and energized. These SIBO solving supplements alone would normally sell for over $200. And that's not all you get.
When you sign up this week, you'll also be getting 4 video Q&As where I answered all of the most common questions about SIBO, gut health, and more that came up during the program so that you can get the answers that you need and to stop feeling like you're alone and in the dark about your health. Now, in my clinic, I charge $800 for 50 minutes of my time. In these Q&As, there was well over an hour that I took to make sure that all the questions were answered so that you were getting the support you needed to beat SIBO for good. You can see that the entire SIBO Breakthrough Program is valued at over $3,700. However, Remember, conventional medicine failed me, and it is my mission to not have it fail you too. My mission statement, as I already said, is that we empower people to take back their health by providing them with the tools to understand the root cause of their symptoms and to live their solution. So I'm on a mission to help as many people as possible to beat SIBO for good. So when you join me in the SIBO Breakthrough Program, you will get the entire package for only a fraction of that price. That's right, I'm giving it away to you for only $2.99. I know that so many of your seemingly unrelated symptoms are really the result of one treatable gut infection. I know that we can beat SIBO together, and you can get your health and your life back. Now, if you'd like to accelerate your progress, you can fast track your success with the gut repairing upgrade. You can heal a leaky gut and regain your health and vitality much faster. This upgrade kit is not available on my website. We have made this kit exclusive for those going through the program, and it is available at additional savings when you purchase the kit today with the program. The Fast Track Upgrade Kit includes 3 of my top gut healing supporting supplements so that you can unlock the gateway to health more quickly. Leaky Gut Revive, my most comprehensive weapon for repairing a leaky gut, restoring your mucosal lining so that you can restore your gut lining and soothe digestive symptoms. Collagen, which helps to restore your gut villi, sealing the gaps in the tight junctions, allowing for quicker healing so that you can stop the leaky gut in its tracks, reduce your inflammation, and help prevent or reverse more serious health conditions from coming out. And finally, digestive enzymes, which help to lower the digestive burden so that you can actually digest and absorb your nutrients properly in order to regain energy and vitality much more quickly. In addition, when you join the program before tomorrow at midnight Central Standard Time, I'm going to email you a special bonus. Now, one concern that I hear from people all the time is that they're worried they'll fall off track if they change any part of their routine. That includes traveling or dining out, whether for work or for fun. Now, I travel for work and pleasure quite frequently. So trust me when I say that you can succeed on the program even while traveling and dining out. So I recorded a special bonus training just for you. It's a 30-minute packed full of my personal tips for traveling while following any of my programs. In this audio training, I share exactly how I prepare for success when I'm traveling, exactly how to navigate menus when dining out, and exactly what to do if you accidentally slip up or get glutened or dairy. After listening to this audio training, you can pack your bags and travel and dine out with confidence while beating SIBO. This is not available anywhere on my website, and I'm only offering it as a very special bonus to those of you who commit early to taking back your health. Don't go it alone. We can beat SIBO together. Now, you can always buy the basic program, but this is the only time you'll get the bonus support from me with the 4 Q&A videos. Now is the time to make the commitment to yourself. Commit to no more diarrhea, constipation, gas, bloating, or fatigue, no more skin issues or food intolerances. Instead, commit to full energy, vitality, joy, and health. You do not need to spend more time looking for your solution. I have it here today for you. I have done all the hard work for you. I take all of the guesswork out. So let's do this together. All right, so I'm about to get into your questions. Now, the questions are really surrounding your program. Please don't ask personal health questions as I'm going through this. Now, we had a few people submit questions ahead of time that we've created frequently asked questions because they are frequently asked questions. So I'm going to go through those first. And after that's over, I'll go live again and I will answer your questions. Okay? So let's hit it. I know I'm running a little long. Okay, do I need supplements or will diet alone work? So this proven program is 3 easy steps. The first step is starving the bacteria, but steps 2 and 3 are pruning back the bacteria and restoring the bacterial balance, which do require the supplements that I talked about earlier. So in the program, I've included everything that you need in order to be successful in beating SIBO. Do I need testing before I do the program? If you said yes to any of the symptoms that I mentioned earlier, gas, bloating, constipation, rosacea, unexplained rashes, histamine intolerance, fatigue, likely, again, IBS, hypothyroidism, these things, 50% of them, rosacea, likely have SIBO. So if you have any of those, I think that that is good enough. But we also, if you are unsure, have a free quiz that you can take, and my team will post the link below in the comments, and you can take the SIBO quiz to find out. Can a vegan or vegetarian do this program? Okay, guys, I gotta be honest with you. I was a vegetarian for 27 years, and though I thought it was a super healthy lifestyle and diet choice for me, I later discovered that all these grains and legumes actually contributed to me developing SIBO, which was, again, one of the underlying root causes of my leaky gut and ultimately autoimmunity. So after working with thousands of patients, I really don't recommend following a vegan or vegetarian diet while you're trying to solve SIBO. You know, the mouth-watering meals on this program are filled with rich vegetables, healthy fats, and high-quality animal proteins that are going to ensure that you stay full, energized, and most importantly, that you're successfully starving the SIBO. I already have autoimmunity. Will this work for me? Absolutely, yes. In fact, remember, after working with thousands of patients and in my clinic, I could actually test them. I found that almost all of them with autoimmunity and other chronic health conditions had SIBO. It was one of their underlying root causes. So remember, SIBO can cause leaky gut, and leaky gut's a precursor to autoimmunity. So, likely if you have autoimmunity, you have leaky gut. Did you get it from SIBO? Could be. So you're in the right place if you have SIBO and autoimmunity. And the best part is almost all the recipes, about 90% of them, are already AIP or autoimmune approved. The remaining recipes will just need small modifications, which are clearly marked, so you are sure to succeed. Get this one all the time. I have Candida and SIBO. Can I treat them both at the same time? Resoundingly, yes. SIBO and Candida commonly come together. In fact, I would say that probably 50% of my patients have both of these infections at the same time. Again, if you'd like to find out if you have Candida, my team will post a free Candida quiz in the comments. You can take that quiz and see if you too are suffering from SIBO and Candida. So if you test positive for Candida or you're suspecting that you have it as well as SIBO, I generally recommend the following to my patients. One, that is to purchase the Candida Breakthrough Kit. So this is on my online store, and again, my team can post the link. If you plan to beat both infections at the same time, you need to be sure that you order the Candida Kit early so that it arrives in time to begin the program. So, and in my program materials for the program and in the guide, we explain exactly how to beat both infections at the same time so that you can get back your healthy and vibrant self as quickly as possible. So we show you exactly how to do that. It's spelled out for you in the guide and in the program. My SIBO keeps coming back. Will this work for me this time? Yep. So this program is physician designed. It's proven to be effective. This program, as I mentioned earlier, is based off of 10 years of clinical experience, helping people exactly like you and helping thousands of people solve Candida for good.